Dr. Emily Walker stared at the quantum fluctuation readings scrolling across her holographic display, her coffee growing cold beside her keyboard. The underground laboratory at MIT hummed with the familiar sound of cooling systems and quantum containment fields, but something felt different today. The particles weren't behaving according to any known physics model. They were dancing to an entirely new rhythm. "Dr. Stevens, are you seeing this?" She called out to her research partner, her fingers flying across the haptic interface. The quantum entanglement patterns shifted again, forming impossible configurations that seemed to ripple through spacetime itself. "Impossible," Dr. James Stevens muttered, adjusting his wire-rimmed glasses. "The entanglement field is responding to your neural patterns." He pulled up another holographic window, comparing her brainwave monitor to the quantum fluctuations. The correlation was undeniable. Emily felt her heart race as the implications hit her. For centuries, humanity had watched alien civilizations traverse the stars using massive energy arrays and exotic matter drives. The Galactic Council had repeatedly reminded Earth that they were centuries away from achieving practical faster-than-light travel. Yet here, in a basement lab in Massachusetts, they might have just stumbled upon something revolutionary. "James, remember that paper you showed me about the Viking artifacts? The one about ancient humans exhibiting unusual quantum sensitivity?" Emily pulled up the archived article, her hands trembling with excitement. "The one everyone dismissed as pseudoscience." James walked over, his coffee forgotten. "Because it suggested human consciousness could influence quantum states more directly than other species." Emily nodded, her blue eyes bright with realization. What if they weren't wrong? What if millions of years of evolution under Earth's unique magnetic field gave us something special? The next 12 hours became a blur of calculations, tests, and mounting excitement. They discovered that human brainwave patterns could create microscopic quantum tunnels. Tears in spacetime, barely large enough to detect. When Emily focused intensely, the tunnels grew more stable, defying every known law of quantum physics. Word of their discovery spread through the academic channels despite their best efforts at secrecy. Within days, the Galactic Council's Science Ministry issued a scathing statement, declaring their research primitive myth-making unworthy of serious consideration. But someone else had noticed. Admiral Rachel Thompson of the United Earth Defense Force arrived unannounced one rainy evening, her uniform pristine and her expression grave. "Dr. Walker," she said, studying the quantum containment chamber with knowing eyes, "what would you say if I told you we've been tracking similar anomalies around certain military test pilots?" Emily's breath caught. "You mean, every time they push our ships to the limit, we detect quantum fluctuations that our alien advisors insist should be impossible?" The Admiral's stern expression softened slightly. "We need your help, Doctor. Humanity needs your help." The next week saw Emily's lab transformed. Military-grade quantum sensors replaced their academic equipment. Test pilots began arriving for neural pattern analysis. Each new discovery confirmed their theory. Human consciousness could manipulate quantum space in ways that the most advanced alien civilizations had never imagined. The breakthrough came at midnight during their third week of military collaboration. Lieutenant Sarah Morgan, a test pilot with unusually strong quantum sensitivity, managed to create a tunnel large enough to send a probe through. The device emerged 10 light-years away, near Alpha Centauri, having bypassed all known laws of physics. "It's not about raw power," Emily explained to the gathered military brass the next morning. "Every alien civilization tried to brute force their way through space-time. We're finding paths that were always there, using our minds to gather quantum threads into traversable tunnels." As she finished her presentation, an urgent message flashed across her screen. The Galactic Council had called an emergency session. Somehow, word of their success had leaked. Admiral Thompson stepped forward, her voice firm. "Dr. Walker, we need to accelerate the program. Our window of opportunity is closing." Emily looked at the quantum chamber, where Lieutenant Morgan was preparing for another test. They had unlocked humanity's greatest discovery, But she couldn't shake the feeling that they had also painted a target on Earth's back. The revolution in faster-than-light travel had begun. The only question was whether humanity would survive its own breakthrough. Quantum Dreamer, you are cleared for test jump sequence. The mission controller's voice crackled through the neural interface as Jessica Ghost Reynolds settled into the pilot's chair. The experimental ship hummed around her, its systems tuned to match her brainwave patterns. Copy that. Control. Beginning pre-jump checklist. Jessica's fingers danced across the holographic controls, but her real connection was deeper, through the quantum neural interface Dr. Walker had designed. She could feel the ship's systems responding to her thoughts, quantum sensors extending like additional senses. Lieutenant Commander Marcus Hayes, her co-pilot, monitored the engineering displays. Quantum core stable. Neural synchronization at 98%. Looking good, Ghost. Jessica closed her eyes, visualizing the quantum threads Dr. Walker had taught her to find. They were always there, invisible strands of possibility weaving through space-time. Traditional alien FTL drives burned massive holes through these delicate structures. Humans had learned to gather them gently, weaving them into temporary passages. Beginning jump in 3, 2, 1. The universe shifted. Not the violent tear of conventional FTL, but a graceful slide through dimensions. Jessica felt the quantum threads respond to her mind, forming a perfect tunnel through space-time. The serenity shattered as Quantum Dreamer emerged into chaos. Multiple capital ships. Marcus shouted. Energy weapons fire. Looks like. Zaxcar dreadnoughts engaging Merida vessels. Jessica's enhanced reflexes kicked in as a stray plasma bolt seared through space where they had emerged. Without conscious thought, she gathered quantum threads and jumped, the ship responding instantly to her neural commands. They reappeared 2,000 kilometers away, giving them a clear view of the battle. 3 massive Zaxcar dreadnoughts, their crystalline hulls gleaming with weapons fire, pounded against the sleek, cybernetic ships of the Merida Collective. Both sides used conventional FTL drives, their massive engines requiring lengthy cool-down periods between jumps. Control, are you seeing this? Marcus transmitted, his voice tense. We've got an active combat situation. The response came from Admiral Thompson herself. Maintain observation distance. Do not engage unless. Civilian transport. Jessica cut in, spotting the small vessel trying to escape the battle zone. Its engines flared weakly as it attempted to escape a Zaxcar targeting lock. There wasn't time to think. Jessica reached out with her quantum-enhanced senses, gathering space-time threads like reins. Quantum Dreamer responded instantly, jumping between the transport and incoming fire. Ghost, what are you? Marcus began. Trust me. Jessica had never felt more focused. She executed a series of micro-jumps, each one precisely calculated by her neural interface. The ship danced through space, appearing and vanishing faster than targeting computers could track. Each jump redirected enemy fire away from the civilian vessel. On the Zaxcar flagship's bridge, Supreme Commander Zax Vac watched in growing horror as the impossible unfolded on his tactical display. What manner of drive system can jump so quickly? Our targeting systems cannot lock. The Merida ships paused their attack, their cybernetic consciousness equally fascinated by the human vessel's quantum dance. In the span of 30 seconds, Jessica executed more FTL jumps than most ships could manage in an hour. Civilian transport is clear, Marcus reported, his voice filled with awe. But we've got multiple locks. Both sides are very interested in us now. Jessica allowed herself a small smile. Then let's give them something to remember. She reached deeper into the quantum field, attempting a maneuver they'd only theorized in simulations. Quantum Dreamer split the space between dimensions, simultaneously appearing at multiple points around the battlefield. The effect lasted only microseconds, but to the alien observers, it seemed as if the human ship existed in multiple places at once. Unknown vessel, a Zaxcar transmission boomed. You will power down and prepare for boarding. Your drive technology must be investigated. The Meridae added their own demand. Your ship's capabilities defy known physics. The collective requires explanation. Control, Jessica queried, gathering quantum threads for another jump. Admiral Thompson's response was immediate. Get out of there, Ghost. You've just shown them more than we ever intended. Come home, now. Jessica nodded to Marcus, plotting emergency return vector. She gathered the quantum threads one last time, weaving them into a complex pattern. As Quantum Dreamer vanished from the battlefield, Jessica caught a final glimpse of the alien ships attempting to pursue. Their massive FTL drives powered up sluggishly, but she knew they'd never catch them. Humanity's secret was out, and the galaxy would never be the same. Dr. Emily Walker's quantum laboratory was eerily quiet at 3 a.m. The only sounds came from the gentle hum of equipment and the soft tapping of keys as she analyzed the combat data from Quantum Dreamer's encounter. Her coffee had grown cold again, but she barely noticed, too engrossed in the neural patterns Jessica Reynolds had generated during the battle. The security alarm's shriek shattered her concentration. Red emergency lights pulsed as armored figures repelled past her windows. The quantum containment chamber's door exploded inward, and shadow-clad operatives poured through the smoke. Their armor bore no insignia, but their movements betrayed their identity. Void Hunters, the Zaxkar Empire's legendary assassination unit. Emily's hand slammed the emergency purge button as she dove behind her desk. The quantum core began its shutdown sequence as plasma bolts scorched the air above her. Dr. Michael Harrison, working late in the adjacent lab, burst through the connecting door with a security team. "Emmy, run!" Michael shouted, laying down covering fire with the security team. "They're after the neural interface designs. Get to the panic room." She scrambled toward the hidden elevator, clutching her quantum tablet. The security team's bullets pinged harmlessly off the Void Hunter's advanced armor. One of the assassins raised a strange device, and Emily's tablet sparked and died. Some kind of targeted EMP. Michael saw the second assassin aiming at Emily. Without hesitation, he threw himself into the line of fire. The plasma bolt caught him squarely in the chest, but his sacrifice bought Emily the seconds she needed to reach the elevator. Prototype secure. The lead Void Hunter's translator made his alien speech sound mechanical. Negative. No quantum cores found. Data storage destroyed. One researcher escaped. Find her. The Empire must understand this technology. The elevator descended rapidly to the subsurface maglev station as Emily fought back tears. Michael was gone. Her friend, her colleague, the man who'd supported her crazy theories when everyone else laughed. The tablet in her hands might contain his last breakthrough. Across the planet, similar scenes unfolded. In London, Dr. Sarah Peterson barely escaped when Void Hunters attacked her quantum mechanics symposium. In Moscow, Professor Ivan Kravenov disappeared entirely. In Tokyo, the entire quantum research division of the Advanced Sciences Institute went dark. Admiral Thompson stood before the United Earth Defense Forces Emergency Council, her expression grim. The Zaxkar aren't just after our technology. They're trying to eliminate our ability to develop it further. Project Wolfpack needs to be accelerated. General Robert Martinez, head of Earth's Space Force, nodded in agreement. The Quantum Dreamer incident proved our technology works. We need to convert the fleet before they realize the full extent of our capabilities. Or lack thereof, Admiral Thompson added. We have exactly 3 pilots trained to use the quantum interface. Jessica Reynolds is the only one who's proven combat capable. 4 pilots now, a voice called from the door. Emily Walker entered, still dusty from her escape. Michael. Dr. Harrison completed the neural pattern analysis before he died. We can predict quantum compatibility with 90% accuracy. I can have pilot screening protocols ready within 48 hours. The room fell silent as security footage from the MIT attack played on the main screen. They watched Michael's last moments, his sacrifice buying time for humanity's future. They're afraid. Emily continued, her voice stronger. The Zaxkar Empire has dominated space travel for centuries, but they can't duplicate our quantum technology because it's not about the machines. It's about us. Human consciousness evolved differently. Michael proved it. Admiral Thompson studied the casualty reports flowing in from around the globe. How long to implement the new screening protocols? A week to set up testing centers. Another week to begin pilot training. But we'll need to move the facilities underground. The Void Hunters will be back. Approved. And Dr. Walker? The Admiral's eyes softened slightly. I'm sorry about Dr. Harrison. He died protecting more than just you. He died protecting Earth's future. Emily clutched Michael's final data chip. Then let's make sure his sacrifice matters. Project Wolfpack needs to become operational before the Zaxkar realize what we're building. As if in response to her words, alarms began blaring. Multiple quantum distortions appeared in high orbit. A Zaxkar battle fleet had arrived. The wolves weren't just at the door anymore. They were breaking it down. Commander Kate Thunder Martins watched Jupiter's great red spot churn below her squadron's position. The massive storm system dwarfed Earth, its wind howling at speeds that could tear conventional ships apart. To most spacefaring races, the gas giant's turbulent atmosphere was a navigational hazard to be avoided. To humanity's quantum-enabled ships, it was about to become their greatest weapon. Lightning Squadron, sound off. Kate's neural interface hummed as she connected with her pilots. Lightning 2, ready. Jessica Reynolds had transferred to the squadron specifically for this mission. Lightning 3 through 8, ready. The responses came in quick succession. Kate took a deep breath, feeling the quantum threads that surrounded Jupiter. The massive planet's magnetic field created patterns unlike anything else in the solar system. Control, this is Lightning Lead. Squadron is in position. Multiple Zaxkar warships detected entering the system. Control reported. 17 capital ships, 40+ escorts. They're heading straight for Jupiter Station. The Zaxkar fleet emerged from conventional FTL in perfect attack formation. Their crystalline hulls gleamed in Jupiter's reflected light as they moved to surround the human outpost. Supreme Commander Zaxvak's voice boomed across all frequencies. Surrender Jupiter Station and deliver your quantum drive technology. Resistance is futile. You have 10 minutes to comply. Kate smiled grimly. Lightning Squadron, initiate Operation Storm Dance. Remember your training. Ride the quantum currents and let Jupiter do the work. 8 human ships dove into Jupiter's upper atmosphere, their quantum drives allowing them to slip between layers of gas and magnetic flux. To the Zaxkar sensors, they seemed to vanish. Impossible, Zaxvak growled. No ship can survive those pressures. Launch atmospheric probes. Find them. Kate felt the quantum threads singing around her ship, amplified by Jupiter's intense magnetic field. Now, Lightning Squadron exploded into action. Kate's ship quantum jumped into existence directly beneath a Zaxkar cruiser, riding a massive upwelling of metallic hydrogen from Jupiter's depths. The pressurized liquid spray overwhelmed the alien vessel's shields, followed immediately by a precise strike from Kate's plasma cannons. Before the Zaxkar could respond, her ship vanished back into the atmosphere. The entire engagement lasted less than 2 seconds. Beautiful hit, lead. Jessica called out as her own ship performed an impossible maneuver, quantum jumping between layers of Jupiter's radiation belts. The charged particles followed her exit point, creating an electromagnetic pulse that disabled 2 Zaxkar escorts. The alien fleet's formation dissolved into chaos. Their powerful weapons were useless against targets that appeared and disappeared faster than their targeting computers could track. Each human ship struck from within different atmospheric layers, using Jupiter's natural phenomena as weapons. They're adapting, Kate warned as enemy ships began firing spread patterns into the atmosphere. Switch to Phase 2. Jessica, you're with me. 2 human ships burst from the atmosphere in perfect synchronization, their quantum drives creating a momentary tunnel between them. A massive lightning bolt from Jupiter's storms followed the tunnel, chaining between 3 Zaxkar capital ships and overloading their power cores. By the eternal stars, Zaxvac whispered as he watched his mighty fleet being dismantled by what seemed like Jupiter itself. What are these humans? The battle reached its crescendo as Lightning Squadron executed their final maneuver. All 8 ships quantum jumped in a precise pattern around the Zaxkar flagship, their synchronized movements creating a temporary quantum vortex. The gas giant's atmosphere followed the distortion, engulfing the massive vessel in a tornado of metallic hydrogen and electromagnetic energy. Jupiter Station, this is Lightning Lead. Kate transmitted as the remaining Zaxkar ships flood into FTL. Threat neutralized, although I think we might have made them angry. The station's commander responded with a laugh that bordered on hysteria. That's what you call it. The Zaxkar just got their advanced fleet handed to them by 8 ships and a gas giant. Angry doesn't begin to cover it. Kate watched the last enemy ships disappear into FTL. They thought we were hiding in Jupiter's storms. They never considered that we'd learned to use those storms as allies. That's the difference between us and them. We don't just adapt to nature, we dance with it. As her squadron regrouped, Kate knew this was only the beginning. The Zaxkar would return with a larger fleet, but humanity had shown the galaxy something new. Sometimes the most powerful weapons aren't the ones you build, but the ones you learn to dance with. Neural sync failing. Quantum harmonics destabilizing. Dr. Thomas Anderson's voice cut through the chaos as emergency alarms blared throughout the underground testing facility. Through the observation window, 3 test pilots convulsed in their neural interface chairs, their minds trapped in a failing quantum network. Dr. Emily Walker's fingers flew across the emergency shutdown console, breaking quantum connections. Now, the pilots slumped forward as the neural interfaces powered down. Medical teams rushed into the testing chamber while Emily studied the data scrolling across her screen, her face drawn with concern. "Third failure this week," Thomas said, running his hands through his graying hair. "We can link 2 pilots consistently, but add a third and the network collapses. The human mind just isn't meant to handle that much quantum information." A new voice cut through their frustration. "You're thinking about it wrong." Ashley Sink Cooper stood in the doorway, still wearing her flight suit from the morning's patrol. Before joining the quantum pilot program, she'd been a world champion in synchronized virtual reality competitions, leading teams of hundreds in complex digital ballites. "The problem isn't information overload," Ashley continued, walking to the neural readouts. "Look at these patterns. You're trying to force each pilot to process everything. In VR championships, we learn to distribute the cognitive load. Each player handles their piece, trusting others to handle theirs." Emily's eyes widened as she studied Ashley's own neural scans. "Your quantum sensitivity readings are off the charts. How did we miss this?" "Because you were looking for raw power. I'm not the strongest pilot, but I can coordinate better than anyone. In the virtual world, we called it dance brain. The ability to move in perfect sync without conscious thought." Thomas was already running simulations based on Ashley's neural patterns. If we redesign the quantum network architecture around this principle, my God, it could work. The next 12 hours became a blur of coding and recalibration. Ashley worked with the engineers, explaining how champion VR teams maintain synchronization across hundreds of players. Emily and Thomas translated these concepts into quantum mechanics, creating a neural network that emphasized harmony over raw power. "Ready for test sequence," Emily announced. In the chamber below, Ashley sat between 2 veteran pilots, their neural interfaces humming with new programming. "Beginning quantum sync in 3, 2, 1. The effect was immediate. 3 minds joined across quantum space, each handling their part of the greater whole. On the monitors, their neural patterns wove together like an intricate dance, supporting rather than overwhelming each other. "It's beautiful," Ashley whispered through the comm. "I can feel them, but it's not overwhelming. It's like Like a symphony, one of the other pilots finished, each of us playing our part. Thomas stared at the readings in amazement. The quantum field is more stable than we've ever seen. Power consumption is down 60%. This could change everything. Emily was already calculating the military implications. If we can link multiple ships like this, we can coordinate entire fleets. Ashley finished, her eyes still closed in concentration. But we need to think bigger. In VR championships, I led teams of hundreds. With the right training. The facility's strategic alert system interrupted her words. Admiral Thompson's hologram appeared, her expression grave. Dr. Walker, we're detecting massive Zaxcar fleet movements. They're gathering for something big. How close are we to implementing the neural network? Emily looked at Ashley, who nodded confidently. We've just had a breakthrough. Give us 2 weeks to train the pilots. We'll be ready. You have 1 week, the Admiral replied. The Zaxcar aren't going to wait. Whatever you're planning, make it spectacular. As the hologram faded, Ashley stood from her interface chair, her movements steady despite the intense neural connection she just experienced. Get me every VR champion you can find. If we're going to teach pilots to dance through quantum space together, you'll need instructors who understand the rhythm. Emily watched as more pilots arrived for testing, each carrying the hope of humanity's survival in their minds. The quantum symphony was about to begin, and its first performance would be a battle for Earth itself. Thomas looked up from his calculations. Think we can really train enough pilots in time? Ashley's smile held the confidence of a champion who'd never lost a tournament. In the VR world, we had a saying, the best dancers aren't the ones who move perfectly, but the ones who trust their partners completely. We're about to show the galaxy what humans can do when we move as one. Ambassador Jack Reynolds adjusted his collar as he strode through the crystalline halls of the Galactic Council's orbital station. The weighted gravity panels hummed beneath his feet, calibrated for dozens of different species. 20 years of diplomatic service hadn't prepared him for this moment. Defending humanity's right to exist as a spacefaring civilization. The Council will see you now, Ambassador. A hovering protocol drone announced, its translation matrix converting multiple alien languages simultaneously. Jack squared his shoulders and entered the vast chamber. Representatives from 30 spacefaring civilizations occupied their traditional seats, their environmental bubbles creating a rainbow of atmospheric conditions. The Zaxcar delegation glowered from their crystalline pedestal, while the cybernetic Merida collective watched through glowing optical sensors. The Council recognizes Earth's ambassador. The Chief Arbiter's translator echoed. You may address the allegations. Honorable Council, Jack began, his voice steady. The Zaxcar Empire accuses humanity of developing prohibited quantum technologies. We reject these charges. Our advancement in quantum mechanics represents natural evolution, not forbidden research. Supreme Commander Zaxvac's crystalline form shimmered with rage. Their ships violated our sovereign space. They manipulate quantum fields in ways that defy natural law. In the gallery above, David Chen, a junior diplomatic aide, noticed something odd. The Merida representative's optical sensors were pulsing in an unusual pattern. 3 years of studying xenolinguistics told him this wasn't random. It was code. While the debate raged below, David slipped out to the communication hub. His hands flew over the holographic interface, analyzing the pattern. His eyes widened as the translation emerged. Danger, virus. Protect minds. Back in the chamber, Jack defended humanity's position. We did not choose to evolve quantum sensitivity. Earth's unique magnetic field shaped our neural development over millions of years. Would you punish us for how we evolved? A convenient excuse, Zaxvac snarled. Yet you weaponize this evolution with remarkable speed. David burst into the chamber, ignoring protocol. He rushed to Jack's side, whispering urgently in his ear. The ambassador's face remained diplomatic, but his eyes hardened. Honorable Council, Jack's voice carried new authority. I move to suspend this session immediately. We have evidence that a bioweapon designed to target human neural patterns has been introduced to this station's environmental systems. Chaos erupted. The chief arbiter ordered an immediate lockdown as environmental scanners activated. In the confusion, David noticed a Zaxkar aide attempting to access a maintenance terminal. "Security," David shouted, but the aide had already entered the command. Emergency klaxons blared as the station's atmospheric processors surged. A barely visible mist began seeping through the human section's air vents. Quantum-targeted nanoviruses, Jack realized, pulling an emergency breather from his suit. They're trying to destroy our ability to interface with quantum fields. The Merida representative's voice cut through the chaos. The collective offers sanctuary. Our cybernetic chambers can filter the virus. Without waiting for permission, mechanical tendrils extended from the Merida section, creating a sealed corridor to their environmental bubble. Jack quickly ushered the human delegation to safety. This attack violates 17 Council protocols. The chief arbiter's translator barely kept up with his alien language. The Zaxkar delegation will submit to immediate investigation. But Zaxtak was already retreating, his crystalline form vibrating with frustrated rage. "You shelter abominations. Their quantum abilities could destabilize the entire galaxy. We will not allow this evolution to continue." Safe in the Merida chamber, David studied their alien allies with newfound appreciation. "Why help us?" The Merida spokesperson's optical sensors pulsed softly. "Your neural plasticity intrigues us. Humanity bridges organic and quantum reality in ways we never imagined. The Zaxkar fear this because they cannot control it. We see opportunity." Jack received an urgent transmission from Earth. Admiral Thompson's hologram appeared, her expression grim. "The Zaxkar fleet is mobilizing. All diplomatic personnel are recalled immediately. It's time." The virus was just their opening move, Jack realized. They knew we'd detect it. They wanted to force our hand. David watched the Zaxkar ships departing the station. They're not trying to start a war. They're trying to justify one they've already decided to wage. The Merida spokesperson's mechanical appendages interfaced with their quantum computers. "Our intelligence suggests they call it Operation Extinction. The collective offers full military support to Earth." Jack's expression was resolute as he composed Earth's final diplomatic message. Humanity had evolved beyond the Zaxkar's understanding, and no amount of political maneuvering would change that fact. The time for words had ended. Now they would show the galaxy what humanity's evolution truly meant. Admiral Sarah Iron Foster stood on the bridge of the Earth Defense Force flagship, Quantum Ascendant, watching the tactical display as the largest Zaxkar fleet in recorded history emerged from FTL. 5,000 ships strong, their crystalline hulls casting prismatic reflections across space. Operation Extinction begins. Supreme Commander Zaxvak's transmission resonated through all frequencies. "Surrender now, and we will make your species end painless." Sarah's response was measured. "This is your only warning, Commander. Withdraw, or witness humanity's full potential." In the Neural Command Center below deck, Ashley Sink Cooper sat within a web of quantum interfaces, her consciousness extended to 300 linked pilots. Each one had been handpicked from Earth's elite VR champions, their minds trained to work in perfect harmony. Neural sync at 100%, Dr. Emily Walker reported, monitoring the quantum network, ready for symphony deployment. Jessica Reynolds, connected to Ashley's right, smiled. "Just like the championships, sync. Lead the dance." Sarah's voice came through the command channel. "All ships, execute Operation Quantum Symphony." Ashley took a deep breath and opened her quantum-enhanced senses. The 300 pilots moved as one, their synchronized minds weaving quantum threads into patterns never before seen in space warfare. The human fleet seemingly shattered into thousands of fragments, each ship splitting into multiple quantum echoes. The Zaxkar targeting systems overloaded, unable to distinguish real ships from their quantum duplicates. "Impossible," Zaxvac raged. No organic minds can maintain such coordination. Fire all weapons. The space between fleets erupted in energy discharges, but the human ships danced through the barrage. Ashley guided them in intricate patterns, each movement precisely calculated to thread through the gaps in Zach's fire. Phase 2, Sarah commanded. Ashley directed half the fleet to create quantum tunnels while the other half prepared to strike. The tunnels manifested as shimmering bridges through space-time, connecting different sectors of the battlefield. Now, Ashley channeled her tournament experience, coordinating hundreds of simultaneous jumps. Human ships emerged from quantum space at impossible angles, their weapons finding weak points in the Zaxkar formation. On the Zaxkar flagship, alarms blared as targeting computers failed completely. "They're everywhere and nowhere," a tactical officer reported. "Each quantum signature spawns dozens more." Jessica led her squadron through a series of micro-jumps, their synchronized movements creating quantum wake turbulence that shattered crystalline hull structures. The Merida fleet, arriving as allies, added their cybernetic precision to the battle. Phase 3, Sarah ordered. "Show them the symphony." This was the moment Ashley had trained for. She reached out to all 300 pilots, their minds harmonizing through quantum space. Together, they began weaving the largest quantum structure ever attempted. The human fleet moved in perfect synchronization, their quantum drives creating a massive, interlocking web of space-time distortions. The web began to pulse with energy, each vibration perfectly timed. "By the eternal stars," Zaxvac whispered as he realized what was happening. "Full retreat. All ships, emergency jump." But it was too late. The quantum web collapsed inward, its energy redirecting every weapon discharge back at the Zaxkar fleet. Crystalline hulls cracked and shattered as their own power turned against them. "Surrender, Commander." Sarah's voice was calm. "Don't force us to show you what else we've learned about quantum space." The battle paused as Zaxvac watched half his fleet reduced to drifting crystal shards. His empire's greatest armada, defeated by what he had dismissed as primitive minds. "What are you?" he demanded. Ashley smiled as she maintained the quantum network. "We're dancers in the quantum realm, Commander. Each of us playing our part in a greater symphony. You tried to brute force your way through space-time. We learned to make it sing." The remaining Zaxkar ships powered down their weapons. On the Quantum Ascendance Bridge, Sarah received the formal surrender. The battle that would become known as the Dance of 1,000 Suns had ended. "Neural network stable," Emily reported with pride. All pilots maintaining synchronization. "Ashley, you did it." "We did it," Ashley corrected, feeling the exhausted satisfaction of 300 minds united in victory. Every dancer played their part perfectly. As the Merida fleet moved to secure the surrendered Zaxkar ships, Sarah opened a channel to Earth. "The symphony is complete. Humanity's place among the stars is secure." The quantum web slowly dissolved, but its message would echo through the galaxy forever. Humanity had not just survived. They had transformed the very nature of space warfare into an art form. The dance of quantum space would never be the same. Dr. Emily Walker stood before the rebuilt Galactic Council chamber, her neural interface subtly connecting her to the quantum fields that permeated space. The assembled alien representatives watched with a mixture of fear and fascination as she prepared to reveal the truth about humanity's quantum evolution. "For centuries," she began, "we believed Earth was unremarkable. A tiny blue world circling an average star. But we were wrong. Earth's unique magnetic field, coupled with its position in a complex gravitational dance between sun and moon, created something extraordinary. Holographic displays activated, showing the intricate quantum patterns within human neural structures. Our planet's magnetic field exposed developing human consciousness to quantum fluctuations for millions of years. Generation after generation, our minds evolved to perceive and interact with quantum space in ways no other species imagined possible. The Merida representative's optical sensors pulsed with interest as Emily continued. But the true breakthrough wasn't just our ability to sense quantum fields. It was our capacity to share that perception, to dance together through quantum space as a coordinated whole. In the chamber's upper gallery, Jessica Reynolds sat beside Ashley Cooper, both still wearing their neural interfaces from the morning's demonstration flights. They exchanged knowing smiles as Emily explained the principles they had proven in battle. The recent conflict, Emily's voice softened, was never about technological superiority. It was about understanding that evolution takes many paths. The Zaxkar mastered crystalline technology. The Meridae perfected cybernetic integration. Humanity learned to dance with quantum reality itself. Supreme Commander Zaxvac, now serving as a peace envoy, shifted uncomfortably in his crystalline form. And what prevents humans from using this evolution to dominate the galaxy? The same thing that made our victory possible. Emily smiled. Our understanding that the greatest achievements come through harmony, not dominance, which is why I'm here to announce the founding of the Terra Nova Institute. Holographic blueprints appeared, showing a massive space station under construction near Earth. This facility will serve as a center for cross-species quantum research. Every civilization has unique neural patterns, different ways of perceiving reality. We don't want to teach you to copy our methods. We want to help you discover your own. Ambassador Jack Reynolds stepped forward, his diplomatic experience adding weight to Emily's words. The Terra Nova Institute will be open to all species willing to pursue peaceful quantum research. The Meridae have already agreed to share their cybernetic expertise, helping us develop new interfaces for different neural structures. In the gallery, David Chen reviewed the incoming applications on his quantum tablet. We've already received requests from 15 species to join the research program. Even some of the Zaxkar scientists are interested. Jessica leaned forward as Emily revealed the next phase. But the Institute isn't just about research. We're establishing the first interstellar academy of quantum navigation. Every species will learn their own unique way of walking the quantum paths. Ashley nodded in approval. The principles she had learned from VR championships, coordination, trust, and shared rhythm, would help guide aliens in discovering their own methods of quantum interaction. Our evolution gave us a gift, Emily concluded. Not the gift of supremacy, but of perspective. We learned to see quantum space not as a barrier to be forced, but as a partner in the dance of exploration. Now we invite all species to join that dance, each in their own way. The council chamber erupted in discussion as Emily's presentation ended. Outside the windows, Earth's quantum fleet performed a ceremonial display, their synchronized jumps creating patterns of breathtaking beauty in space-time itself. They're still afraid of us, David observed quietly. Good, Jessica replied with a slight smile. A little fear breeds respect, but they're also curious, and that's more important. Ambassador Reynolds watched as various alien representatives approached to discuss joining the Institute. We've given them something better than fear or dominance, he said. We've given them possibility. In the quantum field surrounding the station, Emily sensed the subtle vibrations of different species beginning to explore their own connections to quantum space. Each pattern was unique, a different instrument joining the growing symphony of exploration. Michael would have loved this, she whispered, remembering her fallen friend. His sacrifice had helped humanity survive, but his dream of sharing knowledge would help the galaxy thrive. As the first alien students arrived at the academy, Ashley prepared to teach them the fundamental lesson she had learned through victory and defeat. The universe wasn't a battlefield to be conquered, but a dance floor where every species could find their own rhythm in the quantum dance. Evolution had given humanity the first steps. Now, they would help the galaxy learn to dance.